You've tuned into another edition of The Break Room, a weekly conversation about how the City of St. Augustine works from those who do the work every day. Hosted by the City of St. Augustine's Communications Director, Melissa Whistle, The Break Room offers a closer look at the different city departments and provides updates on current and upcoming projects and events. And now, your host, Melissa Whistle.
Welcome to The Break Room. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Melissa Whistle, Communications Director for the City of St. Augustine. This week, I'm sharing the break room with Olivia Smith, the city's solid waste manager, and I will take a moment to point out that since her last appearance on the break room, her title has changed. You may recall that Olivia used to be our recycling coordinator, so now she is not only the subject matter expert, but she is in charge of all things solid waste. Olivia, welcome back.
Thanks so much for having me.
And congratulations.
I appreciate that.
You were running a tight ship down there, and now you're in charge. How's it going?
Yeah, so it's going great. We're just super busy spring season. So trying to merge everything recycling, right, does fall in hand with waste management strategies. Mm-hmm. And so it was a seamless transition for the most part for staff as well as myself, just because I'm always looking at material management strategies. How do we divert? How do we reduce? Just kind of rethinking the process before we get to that end use of recycling. So it's been a pretty interesting and fun transition for me.
Well, and you've been with the city for a while and you've seen the industry change. So it's really not just about put your stuff in the box and we'll pick it up.
Correct. Yeah.
It's where does it go? How do we get rid of it? And we've
Quality
had to change
control
that
for the industry. Yeah, has changed dramatically just in my time with the city. But even before that, on a private sector, the quality control import and export has changed so dramatically that staying up on the recent changes and how do we do outreach education on material management is super important on how programs are successful.
And let me ask the ugly question. How are we doing without the glass? Or should I say, are you still getting glass in there? I know people should know by now we're not taking glass.
Correct.
Are you still seeing it? And what do we do with it? Because I'll tell you, I have a lot of glass and they're in boxes in my garage. And I just don't want to put them in the trash.
Yeah, once you realize that you can't put it in the recycling stream, which has been a whole outreach education that we've all worked on together. It was very successful in November when we started that adventure. And it's been a little disheartening because it is a hard process, right? And so we're getting commercial as well as residential to remove that glass and move it to the garbage stream and just clean up the stream in general. We're still looking for outlets right now. So don't lose the faith. You know, if you're not throwing away your glass, I understand, do something artsy with it until we can find a proper outlet.
I'm going to keep looking.
But the tonnage reports are showing that it is working to move it in the other direction. And that's helpful in how we manage this stuff and moving forward, right, is being transparent in our materials and in our programs that are sustainable. So that's why we did it.
And what we can recycle, just to remind folks, we can recycle. We're not supposed to recycle the food boxes either, though.
As far as like to-go containers?
Well, yeah, like in recycling. Help me remind the listeners, what we are
to recycle?
Yes.
Okay, so the positives. So you can do all your metals, right? A tin, aluminum, and steel, totally fine. Cartons is a misconception. Juice and milk cartons are totally okay. Your plastic 1 and 2, so from water bottles to detergent bottles to shampoo bottles, look on the bottom. Those 1s and 2s, PET and HDPE are a really viable commodity, which means the end users are there, the support is there, the resources are there.
So those are good to go.
Those are all good. All your fiber material, paper, newspaper, your office paper, your cardboard, cereal boxes, all great stuff.
Take the bag out of the cardboard box, though.
Correct.
That your cereal comes in.
No type of film, tanglers. Right. Now, Publix has great programs for that, as well as other retailers. So use that as an outsource opportunity, but we're just cleaning up the stream in general. No tanglers, no styrofoam. The to-go containers are tough.
Yeah.
Sometimes you've got some that are using a 1 and 2. They've kind of dialed in. For the most part, it's a hard mix of plastic. It's got PVC and other things in it that just don't have.
Is the food a problem?
Any kind of residue is going to be an issue. Mayonnaise jars, peanut butter. But just looking at how can we get a volume that's clean to then have an end use for it. That's what's important.
And the tanglers, let's talk about the tanglers. Are the plastic grocery bags that we use, I mean, I get them and I use them in my trash. I use them as a trash liner in like my bathroom.
Perfect.
And then I tie it off and I throw it in the trash.
Yep.
Is that a tangler though?
That is a tangler. So it's a film. It's the same as like shrink wrap and bubble wrap and right. And so when you get in the processing sector of things, which we collect, we don't process, but we are held to quality control standards. That's why we're being so anal about what we take and how we move it. And so that stuff gunks up into the processing conveyor systems, and it has to be peeled out like string. So we've touched on those tanglers. Let's keep our wires and pantyhose and plastic bags.
Who wears pantyhose anymore?
Exactly. You wouldn't believe the stuff we see.
And I bet you they see them down there at the wastewater treatment plant too.
They think any kind of electronic wires, clothing, it's amazing, what can contaminate your load.
And talking about the wires, though, we'll talk about this at length before we wrap up. We have a recycling event coming up. Talk to me about the electrical cords and light strands, though. At our recycling event, we do take those.
That's the right place to bring them. So during our Earth Day collection events in April and America Recycles Day, we do, and in November annually, we take all of those items, right? So your Christmas lights, right? All of your communication cables, as well as outdated, broken electronics can come down. We do cooking oil, a little bit of shredding. So we'll touch on that. But that's the right outlet. I use a completely separate vendor for that type of dismantle, reuse, renew process. It does not go in curbside. That is like I said, it's a different transfer and processing procedure.
So electrical cords, light strands, those are good for the events. What about the hazardous materials? I just got a house and I've been painting and I've got some empty paint cans. I bought way too many samples to pick out which was the perfect color for my interior. So I have a lot of those little sample bottles. What do I do with that?
So paint, chemicals, pesticides, tires, light bulbs, all of this stuff is actually under the hazardous waste side of things. The city of St. Augustine, we are not hazmat approved. So solid waste cannot collect nor haul that material. We have to use the county's program. So we refer everyone to St. Johns County. Please do not bring it to our events. Unfortunately, we have to turn you away. But you can call the county and they have outlets for all of those items.
So it can be done, just not with the city, just not at our events.
Correct.
And we can call the county for that. I don't have that number off the top of my head. So
827-6980.
I figured you would.
827-6980. St. Johns County, solid waste and hazardous waste.
Excellent. And you are listening to The Break Room. If you're just now tuning in, I've got Olivia Smith with me today. She is the city's solid waste manager. And we are talking about, of course, trash, solid waste. And an upcoming community event is going to be on Friday, April 22nd. It's probably going to sound like we're repeating ourselves, but let's just go over it again so that folks know what to bring. And is this a paper shredding event?
Woo, it is. It's always super popular. To give you a scope of how popular, we've been doing this just under a decade. We've seen the growth. So last year's April event in 2021, we filled up the paper shredding truck because it was so popular. So it was 15 and a half tons of paper. Wow. That's 31,000 pounds of paper went into that truck in 4 hours. So we're expecting a tremendous outpour of participation again this year. It's a very busy event, right? It's very popular. So we're going to do free paper shredding, 5 boxes per city resident. Come early because once the truck fills, that's all we can offer. And then obviously outdated broken electronics, as well as your used cooking oil. That does not include motor oil, hydraulic fluid. We're very specific on the cooking oil.
And the cooking oil is the kind of thing that you really need to be thinking about ahead of time, but it's a collective process, if you will, no pun intended. But as you're cooking, put it in a jar, freeze it. What are some of those tips?
Right. So you want to have it containerized. You want to make sure that it's secured with a lid so you can pour it back into the oil containers, milk jugs, things like that can containerize it for transport, obviously, and then on that processing end.
I want to touch on something real quick. I think you will know the answer to this. We have an oil disposal for oil down at the marina for boats.
Correct.
Can we? But that's just for the smaller. Really, usually, it's really for the marine. Customers.
For the usage. Yeah, okay. I don't think they're set up on that mass scale.
No,
to
not
be
at all.
Able to accept that type of volume. Maybe something in the future. But again, because it's under the hazardous waste umbrella. Right. You can definitely take it to the county. That is their wheelhouse, is all things hazardous waste. Just call or go on their website, and they've got a full list of some. If we can't move it, normally they can.
Right. So before we wrap up, we'll come back and remind folks about the Recycle event. I do want to ask you, though, are you getting a new truck? or something?
So
with
we've had some
talks about it.
We've had some approvals recently with the council on some of the HARPA money that's come through. And so we are looking right now.
Okay.
We're shopping, we'll say, to get some new trucks. We're always looking at innovative equipment, what's out there, what's new and exciting, what's going to make the production of our department more efficient and effective. The growth of the city, as we all know, isn't slowing anytime soon.
Right.
So our routes are getting heavier. You're going to see new faces in solid waste. We've really been amping up hiring just because the growth. So yes, we got a new street sweeper. That came in a few weeks ago, so we're excited to get that out there and for everybody to see it.
Is it still on the big wheel?
It is.
Big,
so it
like
still
the big
has a
hairbrush? Looks like a hairbrush to me.
It still has a main broom. So you've got your gutter brooms on the side and then your big main brooms, which we've worked on, touched on recycling a little bit on those. It is an Elgin Pelican. So we've stuck with the same model that we're comfortable with. It does a great job out there in the streets. And so we've got 8 zones alone in the city that we sweep.
Wow.
So we just ask folks, it's
just
spring season.
You just keep going.
We rotate through zones. We do hot spots as needed. And zone 1 is the downtown area, obviously, because we're on the waterfront. But spring is tough on us. So we ask folks to just be patient as we work through our zones.
And the downtown area, we've gotten, honestly, I know we get mixed reviews, but I do think overall we're getting very high compliments about the downtown being clean. How is that looking on St. George? Our big belly trash cans. Do we get some new ones?
We've got 24 sets now. So we've done it in 2 phases, right? So the initial phase was St. George. We've carried it all the way the south end, north end of St. George. We've also started to cover the plaza, and we've begun to put them on the west side of the Lions Bridge to see how that does to capture. So we have backdoor software that we can track things, the foot traffic, the volumes, as well as our litter crew that just does a phenomenal job, keeping the litter and the garbage and things like that moving downtown.
They're up early every day. Did I hear something that there might be big bellies on the Bayfront?
So we're looking at that for the next phase. Yeah, we're looking at kind of where else can we go with that.
But you are always looking ahead. Ever since you and I met, you are always looking ahead, and I get excited when I know you're coming on the break room because we have an easy conversation. There's a lot going on down there.
It's great to have the support too, right? When you guys are excited about these programs, and this is commercial, residential, like the tourism, we get that feedback, right? And that gives us the chance to stoke the fire, go back to the drawing board and say, what else can we do? And so bringing you guys these environmental initiatives, right? From big belly solar things to composting to where are we at and what can we do?
So real quick, we got very few seconds left. Tell me real quick about the composting. Those went faster than Garth Brooks tickets.
It was insane, right? In 1 hour, our application process completely filled. And so it's just a pilot program. Right. Folks are very, very excited. It's great to have that enthusiastic attitude, but we can only have a small control group right now. So it was limited. So we're in the process of ordering those units, right? We build them, and then we have work orders that allow us to deliver them out based on the specs of the applicant, what type of unit and whatnot. So we're very excited to get those out into the community, kind of reduce that overall wet waste. That's our goal, is let's pull that organic matter out of our tonnage, right, from our garbage, and let's see if folks are getting their gardening and stuff going. Yeah, so I have a feeling that it's going to go well, and if it does, we can maybe look into the next phase of that.
Next budget.
Yeah, we'll keep
and
you
it
posted.
Sounds like it's more than just, you're not just going online and ordering a composting bin from Home Depot.
Yes.
It's a little more sophisticated.
So, yeah, and because we're doing it on a mass scale, but yet controlled group, we're looking at what type of bin works for you based on your space restraint, your yard, how much composting. So we will keep you posted as that really comes online. We're pretty excited for a new program.
All right. Well, we are out of time. It's always fun talking trash with you.
Thank you so much for having me.
As we wrap up another edition of The Break Room, I hope we answered your questions about solid waste. If we didn't, take a minute to drop me an email. You can send that to info@citysanog.com. Remember that in order to stay connected, you need to be connected. Follow us on our social media platforms. You will find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram @CitySt. Thanks for tuning in. Until next time.
You've been listening to The Break Room, a weekly program addressing projects and programs offered by the City of St. Augustine. Join us each week as the city's communications director, Melissa Whistle, has in-depth conversations with the people who make our town work to meet the needs of our community. The Break Room is produced by communications specialist for the City of St. Augustine, Cindy Walker. See you at this time next week for another edition of The Break Room.